Hey YouTube, today's White Party Bangkok advice video is all about accommodations. Specifically, I actually have a big list of different hotels and apartments that I've stayed at or stayed in somehow that I'm going to recommend to all of you. Obviously, you're not going to be looking at hotels for Bangkok. You're not going to go into White Party Bangkok, right? So if for whatever crazy reason you're still on the fence about it, go check out the video that I did last week that I'm going to link up in the corner here and also down in the description below, where I talk all about White Party Bangkok. And if you are going to go but you don't have anything booked yet, the first thing you really need to do is get your party ticket right now ASAP, but some tickets are already starting to sell out. In the coming weeks, I'll be posting even more advice videos for White Party Bangkok, including a highly requested one on party outfits and costumes. So make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get notified when those videos come out. All right, let's move on to accommodations. You should already have your party tickets by now, so that means you have an idea of which parties you're going to, and therefore you know which days you'll be in Bangkok and need accommodations. One thing to know about the dates are the check-in and check-out times for various hotels. So when you book a hotel, usually you can't check into that hotel until 3 or maybe 4 p.m. If your flight lands at 9 a.m. into Bangkok, for example, and you go straight from the airport to the hotel, the likelihood is that your room is not going to be ready yet and you're going to have 3, 4, 5 hours to kill before you can access your hotel room. Now, at the end of your stay, when you check out, there's a checkout time hotels have as well. And usually this is like 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. at noon. That means you need to be out of the hotel room by that time. So this is where you want to be careful when you choose your checkout date. You're going to be partying Sunday night and then into the morning, but then your checkout is on Monday. You're not going to have a lot of time to sleep in. You might not even have that much time to pack to vacate that hotel room. So either stay an extra night if you're going to be partying on Sunday night. If you need to check out on Monday, see if you can find a place that has a late checkout option so that you can check out at 2 p.m. or maybe even 4 p.m. instead of like 11 a.m., which is kind of like the standard hotel checkout times at most hotels. All right, now that you know all about hotel check-in and checkout times, now let's talk about hotels that you can book and some hotels that I recommend. I'm gonna talk about your traditional hotels where, you know, you have like a regular hotel room, but I'm also gonna talk about some apartment hotel type options where logistically it works just like a hotel, but instead of getting just a room, you get like a whole apartment. 1 or 2 or 3 bedroom apartment is gonna have a living room, it's gonna have a kitchen. Having an apartment is nice if you're gonna be traveling with a sizable group of people where you all wanna kind of share that same space so you can all kind of hang out, have meals together, for example. That's what I usually do with my friends when we go to Bangkok. All right, let's get to my list of recommended hotels. I split this list into 2 sections. So we're gonna talk about accommodations that are close to CentralWorld, and CentralWorld is going to be the venue for all the nighttime parties, which is actually 4 of the 5 parties. CentralWorld is this big, gigantic, like a super mall. Most of it is like this huge, gigantic shopping mall with a ton of shops and also a lot of restaurants. But in one of the top levels, they have a entertainment venue, this huge, gigantic venue called CentralWorld Live, and that's where all the nighttime parties take place. And I also got a bunch of recommendations in the Gate nightlife area in Bangkok, which is not super far away from CentralWorld, but it's not quite walking distance. So in the Gate nightlife area, I think you might want to look for accommodations there if you want to kind of split some of your time between going to like the gay bars and clubs and venues in Bangkok and also going to some of the White Party Bangkok events as well. Also, the full list of hotels and apartments I'm going to mention are listed down below if you want to follow along. First up, we're going to talk about hotels that are walking distance to CentralWorld. So my first recommendation will be a budget pick, the Anorma Grand Bangkok. So this is a hotel that I've actually stayed at and visited. It is literally right across the street from CentralWorld. I don't know how they get the prices to be so low, but you know, when you go up to the hotel, you feel like it's supposed to be like a much more expensive hotel. So really super great value, and it's right across the street from CentralWorld, so highly recommend it. Another budget hotel that I've stayed at just for a couple of nights is the Hotel Icon Bangkok. So it's still walking distance to CentralWorld. Pretty nice hotel. I only stayed there like a couple of nights. I don't even know how I picked that hotel. I think I just needed to have a couple extra nights before my friends came in and we moved into like a bigger apartment. But I stayed there, so I've experienced there. It was perfectly nice hotel, so that's another budget option as well. So going up a notch in price. These are more like the mainstream hotels. They're not luxury or super expensive by any means. The first one I have is the Hotel Indigo Bangkok Wireless Row. So this is part of the IGH chain of hotels. I visited that hotel. When I say visited for some of these hotels, that means I either had friends that stayed there and I visited them, or that was a house party that I went to, that's more likely, or I might have slept over somewhere in the hotel. So the Hotel Indigo is a hotel I visited for some reason. It was actually a pretty nice hotel, good value, pretty affordable. Another one that I think is gonna be very reliable and it's kind of popular as well is the Courtyard by Marriott in Bangkok. Obviously this is with the Marriott chain of hotel brands. It's a little bit popular with some of the boys, but you know, knowing the Courtyard Marriott in that particular location is gonna be a very reliable choice. Next, you're gonna move up to the more mid-range type hotels. Not like the super luxurious ones, but these hotels are like just, you know, a notch or two above average with a corresponding price tag. The first one I'm gonna highly recommend is the Renaissance Hotel. That's also very, very close to CentralWorld. It's almost like across the street. It's part of the Marriott line of hotels. I've stayed there twice actually, and it's actually a really nice hotel. Moderate price, it's probably gonna be like $200 something a night US. And they're actually one of the host hotels this year as well. So White Party Bangkok, they do have some hotels they partner with. So if you go to the official White Party Bangkok website, you can see which hotels those are. And if you book with White Party Bangkok via the link they have on their official website, sometimes you get some additional perks like late checkout or 10 to 20% off the spa in the hotel or things like that. Another hotel that I've stayed at that I highly recommend is the Grand Central Point, which is a 10-minute walk, still pretty close to CentralWorld. I think I've stayed there a couple of times. Just a funny story, one time I booked a different hotel. For some reason I crossed wires in my head and I got to this hotel and I told them I had a reservation and they couldn't find it. And it wasn't like 15 minutes later when I was double checking everything that I'm trying to check in at the wrong hotel. But the people there at the front desk were very, very nice and they didn't make fun of me. There's also the Centara Grand at CentralWorld. So CentralWorld is actually massive. It takes up like a whole entire city block. So there is this hotel that's in CentralWorld. However, because CentralWorld is so big, it's still like a little bit of like a walk to where the venue is for the nighttime White Party Bangkok parties. But I know people that have stayed there and it's perfectly fine option as well. Another hotel that I have stayed at that I highly recommend is the Novotel Bangkok Platinum. So this is just north of CentralWorld, and between where the Novotel is and CentralWorld, there's kind of sort of this like giant covered walkway that will let you walk kind of in between. Highly recommended, very nice hotel. Another hotel nearby, it's actually a host hotel, is the Amari Watergate Bangkok. I've not known of anyone that stayed here, but it's gotten good reviews. The photos look pretty good, and it being a host hotel is another endorsement as well. I bring up that as a host hotel because part of the offer for the Amari Watergate Hotel is that if you book it as a host hotel via White Party Bangkok's official website, you get a 2 p.m. late checkout. And as I mentioned before, being able to sleep in 2 extra hours, sometimes that makes all the difference. All right, finally, we're gonna move on to some higher end hotels. If you're like a sugar daddy or like you have cash burning a hole in your pocket, you need to get rid of it. There are some higher end options I really like. My favorite one probably is the Hansar, which is more like a boutique hotel. I checked this morning and this is the only hotel that I think might be fully booked. I think they've got some like penthouse or lofts that you might still be able to book for a really exorbitant amount of money. The Hansar is special to me because that's where I partied and kind of stayed the very first time I went to White Party Bangkok. I actually booked to stay at the Renaissance, but then this group of friends that I had met only recently, they were all staying at the Hansar, so we ended up spending a lot of time there. It's pretty popular with the boys. It's a very nice boutique hotel. Another very popular hotel is the Grand Hyatt Uran. Am I pronouncing that properly? The Grand Hyatt. That's literally right beside where the Renaissance is. Also very, very close to CentralWorld, almost literally across the street. That one's also a very popular hotel. It's a very gigantic Hyatt hotel, so they got a lot of rooms there. I have not stayed there. Well, I did have a reservation there. I've stayed overnight in one of those rooms, or maybe a few of those rooms. All right, so those are all the accommodations options, all the hotels that are within walking distance of CentralWorld. Now let's look at some hotel options that are in the gay nightlife area. I'm gonna start with like a budget option. I would be recommending the Holiday Inn Express. I've not stayed or visited at this hotel, but just using my experience in terms of like looking at different hotels and figuring out, which ones are gonna be like dicey or not. This one is gonna be like a really safe bet. Only caveat for this one is that it's a little bit further south, so it's a little bit further away from CentralWorld because the CentralWorld area is north of where all the gay bars are, and the Holiday Inn is like south of all of that stuff. Moving up a notch to like a mainstream offering, this is a hotel that I have visited. This is the Crowne Plaza in Lumpini Park. Large hotel, very nice hotel. Visited there multiple times. This is just off of the main street, so you get really good access to both the BTS and the MRT stations as well. So really solid mainstream option, highly recommended. Moving up to more of a mid-range option, a slightly nicer option. The one I have my eye on would be the Le Méridien in Bangkok. I've not visited, but I have enough friends that have stayed at the Le Méridien to know that it's a very solid hotel, a slightly nicer semi-premium one in that area. It's part of the Marriott brand of hotels, so it's gonna be really reliable. The other ones I've heard people kind of mention in this area, in this price range, would be the Ascot Embassy or the Amara. That's kind of all in that area. These two hotels, I haven't had as much experience from friends staying there, and I have not visited myself. The Le Méridien would be my pick if you wanted something that's like a little bit nicer than a Crowne Plaza. Finally, the two high-end options I do have some experience with. The first one is the Seoul Bangkok, or is more commonly called the Sofitel Seoul. So this is definitely a higher-end hotel. Again, this is also like the Crowne Plaza Hotel right off the main street, so we get really good access to like the public transportation. There have been some slightly famous hompas that have been thrown in like some of the suites at the Sofitel Seoul. So I've definitely visited the Sofitel Seoul multiple times. I've not had a reservation there, but I think I've stayed there once overnight. It's a very nice hotel. I highly recommend it. The other one I would really highly recommend is the W Bangkok. I've not stayed there myself. Actually, I visited there once. Now that I think about it, very, very nice hotel. All the W hotels are really nice, but this one is like nice even for like a W. And I've had different friends stay there and they really, really loved it. So that's another high-end option that I recommend. All right, so those are all the traditional hotel recommendations. I'm talking about some apartment recommendations. But the ones that I am gonna recommend are ones that I've been to or I've booked before. So the first one is the Shama. We've stayed there 3 separate times, I think, and it's not like a super luxurious, super fancy apartment, but it's still pretty nice, and they have some really great like 2 and 3 bedroom suites there that we've stayed at multiple times. They have a pool as well. So that is one that we liked enough to have booked multiple times. So that one I highly recommend. Another one is the Urbana. It's walking distance to CentralWorld. They have another Urbana that's in the Southern, walking distance to like the gate nightlife area. I've been to both of those. The one that's walking distance to CentralWorld, we stayed at, I think for 2020, good value, and you get a full apartment, you get bedrooms, you get multiple bathrooms, you have like a living room, you have a fully equipped kitchen, so it was really nice. This year for 2022, we're booked in a apartment hotel that we've not stayed at before, but it looks good on paper, so we're just gonna try to check it out. And that's the Benvier Tonson. Don't have that much experience with it, but we just decided to try something new. So that's where we're booked, and a couple of our friends are booked in the same building as well, just to, be close with us. So maybe next year I have a review on the Benvier Tonson for you guys. As to how to look for more apartments or to book some of these apartments, so you also have Airbnb, that's an option. And Airbnb as well probably have the most apartment listings, both of buildings that are like apartment hotels, and also you might have people that are locals in Bangkok that might have an apartment to like rent out. Again, all of these places I've talked about will be linked down below in the description, so feel free to check that out. All right, YouTube, hopefully you have an idea of where you're gonna stay in Bangkok. Hopefully one of these hotels that I've booked or visited or partied or hooked up in will do it for you. A lot of them I highly recommend. They're all linked down below. I'm gonna be doing, again, a whole series of advice videos for White Party Bangkok. Some of them have already been posted and some of them will be coming up pretty soon. So make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to make sure you get notified when those videos are posted. There's going to be a video coming up really soon. It's a highly requested video where I talk about the different parties and especially outfit and costume ideas for those party themes. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And until next time, bye YouTube.